Favorite books and shows at the moment. I've been going through sort of a reading slump. Everything I'm picking up, I'm kind of getting bored and then not finishing it. Whereas usually I would force myself to finish, but I'm like, this is wasting my time. I can't do it. I did finish now Breakfast on Pluto yesterday, and I really liked that. Oh no, I look horrible. I dyed my hair yesterday and I kept it in too long, so it looks like my hair is black, but it will wash out. I finished Breakfast on Pluto yesterday. I loved that, so I really recommend that. I started My Brilliant Friend. I didn't love it, but I think I might go back to it once I'm in a better headspace and I can concentrate a bit better. I did love, now I read this over summer though, Tennis Lessons and Snowflake. Tennis Lessons is very like Milk Fed and The New Me by Halle Butler. It's sort of like an anti-hero protagonist, dirty, feral, like dirty girl sort of buzz. And then Snowflake is sort of like a weird, more mentally ill version of Normal People, only because it's like Trinity's mentioned. Literally that's the only thing that's similar, but it's the same age group. And then shows, I'm rewatching Daisy Jones and the Six. I loved Yellow Jackets. I'm rewatching Fleabag as well. Have you been able to keep up hobbies or time for yourself with the baby? Now that I have like my weekends to myself, I've started playing the bass, although I'm really bad. I don't know if I'm making excuses for myself, but I think it's because my hands are too small. But I feel like I'm just shit and I'm making that up to make myself feel better. Like I got the hang of it pretty quickly, and then once I started advancing onto like harder songs, I can't seem to do it. As much as I practice, I just can't fucking grasp it. Like it's going like faster with my hand. I just can't do it. I've been drawing a lot, doing a lot of writing and a lot of reading. I think it's because living with my family, it's a lot more relaxed and I'm not as rushed to like get social interaction in. And another question was, how are you actually? I love that. How are you actually though? So when my baby turned 4 or 5 months, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety, and then I moved back in with my family, and then that was a bit more help because having people around is so important. I think when you have a child, it's very isolating, especially as a young mother. I don't have, like, I'm not meeting up with my parent friends on the weekend and we're sharing, you know, our kids are playing together or we're going to dinner parties. My friend group and everyone I know is still doing things that people in their early 20s are doing, like going out and partying. Not that I'm in my early 20s, I'm in my mid 20s, but people are going out and partying, they're traveling, which is what you should be doing, I suppose, in your 20s. Not a lot of people I know in my life or in my circle have children, so it's like the relatability there is gone. Even my best friends, like I can't go to my best friends for advice because they have no idea what I'm going through. Not to be like, you have no idea about my life, but you know what I mean. That became really isolating then, especially because I wanted to breastfeed, which I'm glad I did. It was that's what I wanted to do as a parent. That was my choice and I don't regret that decision. But being able to breastfeed, there's a huge disparity there between you and your partner on what they can take on as a role in the, like, as a parent. So a lot more responsibility was put on me, and I think that's one of the things that I was not expecting when I became a parent, or when I was oh my god, this fucking dog's so annoying. I think I underestimated the effects that it would have on my relationship. I didn't underestimate actually being a parent. I think I did a really good job. I am really proud of myself for how I've done so far, genuinely, because I know a lot of mothers can be like, oh, now I go through phases obviously being like, I'm a fucking shit parent, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Whereas now I really am proud of myself for all I've given her and like the life that I'm providing for her, which is one thing I can hold on to. But I just feel like I was really not equipped for how it was going to affect my relationship, and the resentments that you hold, and just the difference is between you and your partner after a baby is born. And that's no one's fault, it's just the way that it happened. And I am subscribed to a Substack, Parenting Data, if anyone else reads that. Emily Oyster wrote an article, I think it was Emily Oyster, wrote an article on how to baby-proof your relationship. No, obviously it came to me a bit late. But see, I don't think I would have taken into consideration any advice when I was even pregnant, because everyone thinks that your relationship is special and your love will surpass any sort of obstacles and you'll get through it because you love each other so much, whereas you actually don't know how much it's going to affect the two of you until you're in that situation. Yeah, I think it's good that I got it now, so I know for future reference, but it's just unfortunate that things didn't work out. But sorry, I didn't answer the question. So how I am actually, I'm fine now, but I think it's because I'm ovulating today. Not to be like, my menstrual cycle affects me so much, but genuinely I think it's because I'm ovulating. I feel really, really good today. Like when I got my period 2 weeks ago, oh my god, it was a fucking nightmare. I literally could not stop crying. I was getting the shits, I couldn't eat, it was horrible. But going through a breakup when you have a baby, and it's really lonely. Oh, now I think the past year has probably been the most lonely I've ever felt, even though I have all this love, and the thing is, I felt every single emotion tenfold and more intensely than I've ever felt it before in my life, because of having a child, and the emotions and the hormones the hormonal changes that you go through as after you give birth is crazy. It's definitely been intense. I've been really emotional. I've had really, really dark thoughts, and then gone really, really happy. Like a few times I actually thought that I might go into psychosis, like that's how serious it was. It's like I didn't have a grasp or control over how I was feeling whatsoever. Like I could wake up one morning and feel fucking horrible and not want to live anymore, and then the next day I would feel amazing. So it was really scary. It's getting a lot easier now because of the support, and I was prescribed sertraline, but I didn't want to go down the medication route, and I'm not against medication whatsoever, but just for myself, I don't want to take it. I knew that I just needed more support, and probably the feelings, it's just more it's support is all that I needed, and I wanted to be held like a child. And what's so hard about becoming a parent is not actually looking after now obviously sometimes it can be irritating, like handling these huge emotions constantly. Children, especially as a mother, your child looks at you as their safety net and their safety blanket, so they will express every single emotion tenfold to you than they do to other people. So say, like, they're always brilliant angels for granny and granddad, or their aunties, or even dad, whereas to their mummy they're going to be obviously more intense and express a lot more because you're their safe person. So that can be really emotionally draining, but I do feel like I have a lot of patience for her, and I've gotten a lot more resilient and know how to handle it. So that's obviously difficult, but I think that part of it is fine. I don't think that bit of it is affecting me that much. What did affect me a lot was when you're a mother, you have to know what to do. Because you're that safety net, you have to know what to do all the time, and you have to be strong and have everything together. You know, you have to know what the next step is, because all a child wants is to feel safe. And my daughter, I know she definitely feels safe with me, and I'm ensured that she feels safe, but it's like there's no one there to hold me like a child. And I think that's what happens, and why so many women experience postpartum depression, is if they're not being held, no one is there to catch them afterwards from them, and you're like sucking the life out of yourself trying to provide a safe and comfortable and warm and loving environment for a child, that you need someone to be there behind you to support you. And now I'm really grateful for Emer. She's been like the best friend ever, and she always would come to my house when I didn't want to leave. I got really anxious at some points and didn't want to leave the house, and it's hard leaving the house with the child anyway, because they want to run around and play with their own toys. So a lot of the time I was stuck in the home. So that's why I'm happy that I'm here in my parents' house, my dad and stepmom's house. For the moment I'm not looking for anywhere else to live, because I'm too scared, and I don't feel strong enough to be able to live on my own with my daughter. I think that's a great way for her to live. She's more entertained, she's surrounded by family. She would be bored if it was just the two of us, so I am glad that I have here to stay. But I am saving for a house at the moment, and a few years down the line I would like to move out and have my own home. But for the moment I don't feel strong enough, and I do need to build my strength back up. Like, postpartum depression can last for 50 years. There's no expiry date or timeline for when it stops. So sometimes it's really hard and difficult, and sometimes it's easy and I don't feel it at all. Definitely been lonely, just because I can't relate to any of my peers anymore. Yeah, it's just a completely different experience between the mother and the father when you go through a new life, because women have, like, they're steeped in shame and guilt. So even when I was with the dad, if I wanted to spend the weekend away or to myself, I would feel really guilty, because I also wanted to spend time with my family, but I also needed that time to myself to recharge. So I think for the last month I've actually just been catching up on my sleep for those 2 days that she's away, and then now that I feel a lot stronger, the breakup kind of has only hit me in the last 2 weeks, so I've only kind of felt the mourn and the grief for the love that I had in the last 2 weeks, which is hard obviously because it came so late. But I'm glad that I'm processing it now and actually going through it, because I know that it's healthy to let it out and to feel it, and I have the space to feel my emotions too, because I feel guilty crying in front of my baby, which I don't think you should, but it is hard obviously. Because I'm so sentimental as well, all I can think about is like the future that I would have had if I was still with the dad. But it's fine, I'm definitely moving forward, getting over it. Last week, Jesus Christ, I actually thought I was going to admit myself into a psychiatric unit. No, I'm definitely moving forward, but It's definitely been the most pain I've felt from a breakup, just because there's obviously a lot of history there, and having a child together is a lot of like reminders of what the life you could have had. But unfortunately it just didn't work out, which is fine. Yeah, the bottom line is I just needed to be supported and I needed to be held. I just felt like I had to be strong all the time and hard for my baby, whereas now I know I'm softening out again and coming back to myself. It's hard to find your identity after having a baby, because you're just like an appendage to this new soul that's come into the world. Like, I noticed when she was first born, people would enter, and this still happens, people would enter a room, and this is people I love, like my family and friends, and everyone would greet her before me and sometimes not even acknowledge that I'm there, which, like, love, get it, diva, you know, she deserves all that attention. But it can be really hard and difficult to, you know, it's like people disregard you, or people genuinely start to ignore you. You become completely invisible. So now that I have the space and the time, like 2 days away from your baby, I would prefer not to spend any time away from her and to be able to do this myself, but I don't feel strong enough that I'm able to do that. But the 2 days a week 3 days a week, because I do one day with her, with Saoirse, it's really helped me come back to myself, and I'm actually a much better parent because of it. When we first split up, I was like, oh my god, I can go away for drinks with the girls, but then when Friday came, I'd be too tired to go out, so I would just sleep. And then on Saturday I didn't want to be hungover on Sunday, because that's when I get her back. I think I've gone on one night out and I was like, woo! But I actually have no idea what to say to people when I go out in public anymore, because I'm talking to a child the majority of the time. I actually have nothing to talk about. I have nothing of interest to say. So it's been hard socially to exercise that muscle again, and a lot of my friends emigrated, and because of the past year I've been investing all of my time into being a parent, and to my daughter and to my family, to my own detriment. I think 3 of my best friends have emigrated the past 2 years, so I kind of came out of my relationship with no one, just with Emer. And I have my family of course as well, but I don't really have any friends anymore, and it's my birthday on Saturday. I was kind of like, I don't have anyone to invite, so I'm just going to hope for the best, and hopefully I find people. Do baby's grandparents have a big part of her life? Yes, I think all of her grandparents, she has three grannies and 2 granddads, and all of them are so obviously so close. Every time we go downstairs, she's reaching for my stepmom. She loves my stepmom and she loves my dad so much, and my actual mom. She's obsessed with my actual mom, like literally won't even go near me if I'm there, which is really nice. I actually thought that I would get jealous, you know, when your baby is like, oh, I don't want you anymore, I want this person. But I'm actually kind of like, okay, good, you know, because then it's not a lot of pressure on me. I mean, sometimes she's fucking clinging on, you know, even with the feet around me, which is nice to feel like I'm her safe person. But I love that she gets on so well with her grandparents. How has having a child changed your perspective on men? I think I'm a lot more scared of men now, and I just don't trust. It's hard for me to trust them, because I know our brains don't think. It's actually created more of a divide between me and men in general, because I just know that we don't think the same whatsoever. Just they don't go through the same things, they don't have the same thought process as women do. How are you finding being a single mom? I love it now. I mean, the past 2 weeks have been hard, but definitely I've had way more time to myself. I think that all moms should have those 2 days off just to like recuperate, because it's so full on to be doing it all the time. Now with the co-parenting, I think we're doing a great job. It's lucky that we get on, but it is difficult. Just that I don't know what she's doing. Just because she, like, obviously I grew her for 9 months, and then she was only fed from my body for 6 months after she came out. And then I'm still breastfeeding her now, but obviously she can be, you know, she's not reliant on that because she's over 1, but it's hard to let go and to not even know what she's eating or what she's doing. I think, and also definitely the hardest part for me is I don't have any control over who has access to her. When she's with her dad, she could be going out and seeing people that I don't even know. Yeah, that I don't know what she's doing at all. But yeah, that's just something I need to let go of. But because I know she's safe and she's well looked after and she's loved with her dad, so it's just hard that we can't do things as a family. And also that now going forward, like I said, it's sentimental. I don't want to start crying again, but like doing her first things. She went to a toddler play group today, or maybe when I bring her to soft play for the first time. It's all these things that I would have imagined doing as a family with my ex-partner. whereas now I'm doing it all. Now I'm doing it all on my own. Do you want any more kids? I really did want some, maybe in future down the line, but my heart at the moment obviously hurts a lot, and it will take me a while to ever trust someone again. I'm happy with just her though. Like either way I'd be happy, so I don't know. Are you an autumn winter girl or spring summer? I used to be a spring summer, but I think I'm actually more autumn winter now because I don't feel pressured to like leave the house, because I have gotten a lot of FOMO from the past 2 years of like people going out and going to festivals and stuff when I've been inside. But I actually love being inside and baking and like spending time with my daughter and like drawing and painting and just doing things with her without feeling like I'm missing out on stuff. Okay, so tips for after a breakup. I'm probably not the best person to give advice from, and obviously I have to keep in contact with my ex, but if I had a choice, I think going no contact is really helpful, and also try to resist going on their page and like checking up on them and what they're doing. To see your ex like out having the best time ever is really hurtful. So if you don't have a kid, just fucking don't look at it, mute their friends, don't go on, you're torturing yourself by putting yourself through that. I also found it really difficult to actually go out. When I've gone through breakups before, I remember just going on nights out and trying to distract myself with friends immediately, but with this one I've really been stuck in my feels at home. I've only gone on one night out in which I actually had fun, but with other ones I was kind of sitting there, like I went out for drinks with the girls, with my sisters, and I just felt miserable, and I was just thinking about how sad I am, and I felt I was bringing down the vibes of everyone there, so then I just left early. And that's happened a few times. So to not put yourself through that if you're not ready to go out and have fun, like you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else's timelines. Would work for me is actually staying inside and crying and going through all the sentimental shit and go, because you can only go through that sort of thing once. So I was kind of ruminating a little bit, and then so definitely stop going on your phone. If you feel like you're stuck in your head and rethinking things over and over again, leave the house and go for a walk and put your earphones on and listen to music. I've cried a few times in public listening to sad music. That's also cathartic and therapeutic. Journaling as well, if you feel like you're burning the ear off your friends. I find I get so annoying because I just like talk, it's all I can talk about if that's what I'm thinking about. So if I journal it out, then I'm not going to be annoying my friends and keep talking about the same thing over and over again. And then once you're ready, obviously spend time with your loved ones and friends to remind yourself that you are loved, because I know a lot of times when you go through a breakup you can be like, no one's ever going to love me, it's all my fault, I'm a piece of shit, blah blah blah. Whereas when you go out with your friends, you always feel so much better. I find that now I'm really sort of accepting it, and I definitely love myself a lot more for that, because I know I'm making a good decision for myself and my own well-being. Do you see yourself dating again? The past while, like 3-4 months, oh Jesus no, I like the thought of me getting with someone else actually made me want to get sick, because I was so set on us being together forever, and it's hard to like train your brain out of that, I guess. And then only in the last sort of like few days, I suppose, I've been I get confused on whether I have a crush on someone or if it's just because they're giving me attention. I'm just going to avoid dating for now because I don't want to end up using someone for it not to work out, so I really need to think long and hard about it before I start seeing anyone again. And it's difficult, obviously. I don't want, like, the thought of introducing someone to my child, like, no, I don't ever want to do that. At the same time, I want to hold hands with someone and like kiss, you know? Maybe down the line. I'd say in a few months. I'd say fucking in a few weeks I'll be fine. And I'll be going on dates again. I don't know. Because as well, for the last fucking... Actually, for my whole life, I've been the one... I think I asked all of my ex-boyfriends out. I think I asked all of them to be my boyfriend. No one's ever asked me to be their girlfriend. It's fucking humiliating. And I thought it was for like independent woman. I get what I want. I've asked people on dates. I'm always putting the first foot forward. And for now, I want someone to reach out to me. Like, I want to be courted and felt loved and desired and to be chased, you know? But I've never actually been through that. Even with my ex, I told him I loved him first and asked him to be my boyfriend. I mean, I guess I got proposed to, but that doesn't really count now. It's revoked. So yeah, I just want someone to like come to me, and I do believe in divine timing, and if what's meant for me won't pass me, and all of those good things. So I for the moment, I'm just keeping to myself. I'm working on myself. So I'm gonna go now because I have to go get my nails done. Okay, bye, love you.